coming at you with breaking news that has just happened in the Middle East. And I saw this on MSNBC. I'm actually watching MSNBC as we speak. And breaking news, Israel has taken preemptive strikes against Iran. There's reports that there was strikes which were launched by Israel that hit near the capital of Iran, which is Tehran, which I believe is the capital. Um, Having said that, this is what seems to be a escalation in the tensions that were already existent in the Middle East. As everyone knows, that there is a large-scale military operation happening over a span of over a year in the Gaza Strip, where you have now that same country in Israel. Look at this freak that they had. Well, I'll show you guys when you come. Yo, peace, Mark Nash. I'm not sure if you heard too regarding the breaking news and with Israel or the nation of Israel, state of Israel, striking into the capital of Iran, which is certainly going to be an escalation. Probably the biggest escalation in the military theaters throughout. You know, the Ukraine versus Russia situation, by and large, is petering out. You have the Israel situation. Seemingly, they had their hands full with what was happening by way of the military operations that are happening in the Gaza region within Israel. The tons of media that's involved as far as the coverage of that, people's opinions, whether they feel pro or anti the military operations in Gaza. It seems to be a leading topic in many political discussings as far as people feeling one way or another regarding the situation in Gaza. And now that same nation is involving itself in a larger scale war with a bigger nation in Iran. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Iran is, as far as military might and capability, a far bigger threat than even Iraq, which we are familiar with because of the U.S. taking on Iraq and seemingly beating that military overnight for all intents and purposes. Besides insurgencies, the Iraq military was destroyed by the American military in both the Desert Storm and the Second War in Iraq. But that war showed the largest Western power in the U.S. taking on a not the biggest player in the whole Middle East, but definitely and really a small player in the Middle East. Even at that time, they were contending for oil, and weren't holding the weaponry that they were accused of holding in Iraq. Whereas Iran has at least nuclear capability. Who knows if they're holding nuclear weaponry? But they have a far superior military than what Iraq did. And I'm only mentioning this because uh, the Iraq versus the U.S. War was a similar set of circumstances to a degree, with a large power in Israel taking on Iran. However, the Iran military is far superior than any that the U.S. faced in Iraq. Again, that was a overnight war. Iran and Israel are two border countries, which would probably benefit Israel as far as having the superior military and weaponry. So it'd probably benefit them uh, in the case that they do border each other. But I don't want to get into who's gonna beat who and whatnot. I know all in all, this is gonna make the potential of a large scale world war breaking out potentially next week. I mean, right now, things have been escalating as far as countries aligning themselves with each other, um, against each other. There's large scale wars happening in many theaters throughout the world. And what I feel may be a escalation in a conflict that wasn't seemingly happening out in the open between Israel and Iran. I didn't hear anything kinetic happening between those two nations recently, but today and this evening, as of a couple minutes ago, we're getting news that Iran was struck deep into its territory in the city of Tehran, or near the city of Tehran, by way of Israel, or by way of Israel striking Iran. Um, so I mean, this is these are scary times that we live in. I hope that powerful politicians could intervene and try to dead this situation from progressing into something really nasty. I mean, it's going to be really nasty as is. I mean, you have Israel, which is a Judaic nation, with Iran, which is a Muslim nation. Well, it's a religious Muslim nation. You know, and they already have bad blood for each other just based on their religious perspectives. And I mean, I wasn't aware again of anything happening by way of Iran and Israel having some sort of kinetic um, wars or battles, strikes on each other that were happening. Besides the fact that Israel has blamed Iran for enabling the event of October 7th. I've never really looked into how. I mean, like, did they have evidence of how that they released that showed that Iran was responsible for the events of October 7th? I haven't seen anything like that. I mean, if it's out there, as flew under my radar, if you will. But with Israel striking Iran, I mean, it's a certain escalation on the part of the state of Israel. But these are really tenuous times. I mean, we already have a lot of people that just in these last couple weeks, like, their perspective regarding Gaza has changed in a large way. More and more people are pivoting away from Israel continuing military operations in the Gaza region. And that seemingly, especially here in the last couple weeks, has been something that people's opinions, what if they were pro um, Israel taking revenge for the actions of October 7th against the people of Gaza, a lot more people were pivoting away from that position here recently. Like, even conservatives, a lot of times, are somewhat more pro Israel than what a liberal would be. But a lot of conservatives weren't cool with um, what was happening in Gaza before this operation took place by way of the nation that Gaza resides in. Um, but I did feel a large wave of people's thinking, whether that be in the mainstream media. You have what's that guy's name? He has a really popular YouTube show, and Piers Morgan, he's changed his position recently in terms of Israel, and he's saying that Israel should cease um, the operations that they have going on in Gaza. And that's been happening in regular mainstream media too. We've been seeing a lot of pundits on the mainstream media, even ones whose ethnicity is of that country, kind of pivoting away from being pro continuation of the operations that are taking place in Gaza. So you have a large pivoting away from Israel kind of being favorable in these discussions to now that same nation striking a completely different nation in what is already a dangerous theater in the Middle East. Sorry, folks, I had a had to press mute for a second. Give me 1 second. So my the I'm not saying that everything will be all right because Trump is the president, but it does give me a kind of hopeful of the sense that we don't have to deal with the prospect of somebody who's not tenured in these decisions to be the one at the helm in the White House on an eve like this evening. Trump is bombastic and has a tendency of carrying a big stick in terms of his politics and in terms of him being rough in his dealing with other nations. So hopefully he could try to calm the situation down. There was actually a statement by Marco Rubio saying that Israel acted on their own behalf in conducting these strikes and didn't consult with America. I'm assuming that by way of that statement, that the White House, Trump, and his cabinet are surprised by the actions that have taken place against Iran, especially considering that recently Trump has been negotiating with Iran to do a deal with Iran. As of this weekend, they were actually going into their sixth session of negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. And Trump actually made a statement last night that a deal with Iran was being worked out and that a strike coming from Israel during the time of these negotiations would uh, mess up the issue for America and for Trump and this negotiation between Iran and the United States. So I'm assuming that they're not happy as far as the Trump White House that these actions against the nation of Iran, again, a nation that Trump was negotiating with as we speak, getting ready to enter a sixth session of negotiations of back and forth that were being worked through countless hours between those two respective countries, and for that to be compromised by an outside nation and altogether, it really complicates the issue. Also, factoring in, like I said, a lot of people's positioning in terms of what's happening in Gaza have really painted Israel in an unfavorable light. And that's not only with liberals, but with conservatives and people of all walks of life. And that's a really worldwide phenomenon as far as the rancor that people hold in reference to their positioning as far as Gaza goes. And now the events of this evening, it's really tenuous times. I mean, if there's a response by Iran, I mean, Israel has a large capability of defending itself in addition to a really advanced air force to strike deep into a border nation like Iran. So, I mean, this situation could get extremely messy. I mean, my prayers go out to all the people in that region. I definitely don't want to see any sort of escalation. And I don't say that because of a rooting for any sort of political team. I say that because ultimately, war isn't cool, not one iota. Um, I got comments again. Bruce Gas, peace to you, my friend. Thank you. Salute, sir. My brother, Michael Johnson, boxing talking more. Uh, but I don't know if you guys have heard of these strikes that have taken place, and I'm sure that these aren't. I don't know what was hit. I'm trying to find anything out. I'm watching videos, and CNN is kind of refraining from saying what kind of targets were hit within the nation of Iran this evening, and it doesn't seem like it was anything too outlandish. And in terms of like any crazy video being uploaded with a bunch of shit blowing up, I haven't seen anything of yet. For some reason, on the CNN stream, like they keep showing a live shot of Tel Aviv, Israel, um, I guess with the anticipation that they're expecting a strike to return back. But I'd rather them show a live shot of Tehran. I mean, like the nation that was hit. So I'm waiting with bated breath to see what kind of damage was done. It seems as if
Basic
Netanyahu's giving a
requirement
statement
of
now.
peaceful nation. That is why we have no choice but to act. And act now is to thwart a danger before it materialized. Nearly a century ago, facing the Nazis, a generation of leaders failed to act in time. They were paralyzed by the horrors of World War I. They were determined to avoid war at all costs, and they got the worst war ever. They adopted a policy of appeasement. They closed their eyes and ears to all the warning signs. That failure to act resulted in World War II, the deadliest war in history. It claimed the lives of 60 million, including 6 million Jews, a third of my people. After that war, the Jewish people and the Jewish state vowed never again. Well, never again is now. Today, Israel has shown that we've learned the lessons of history. When enemies vow to destroy you, believe them. When enemies build weapons of mass death, stop them. As the Bible teaches us, when someone comes to kill you, rise and act first. This is exactly what Israel has done today. We have risen like lions to defend ourselves. Over 3,000 years ago, Moses gave the people of Israel a message that has steeled their resolve ever since. Be strong and courageous, he said. Today, our strong and courageous soldiers and people stand together to defend ourselves against those who seek our destruction. And by defending ourselves, we defend many others and we roll back from murderous tyranny. Generations from now, history will record its ground, acted in time, and secured the future. May God bless Israel. May God bless the forces of civilization everywhere. Thank you.
So that was the statement made by Netanyahu. It seemed like it was pre-recorded. And this is kind of a move to the Marco Rubio, the head of the State Department in the Trump administration, by Israel, that was advised or alongside of the U.S. The U.S. have always been aligned with each other militaristically when it comes to this region. as far as Southwest Asia and the Middle East. But more and more since Trump became the president, there seems to be a little bit of a distancing of Trump from Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, that's it. Over these past couple of days, Iran and the U.S. have been negotiating. We're in the midst of entering the six-set negotiating session this weekend that we were entering into. Trump actually mentioned that Iran um, is in the midst of a negotiation with the U.S. and that a strike, which was rumored to be happening over the weekend and over these last couple of days, there's been a lot of rumors that I've been hearing on Twitter saying that Israel was planning a strike against Iran in the next coming days. Well, that day was this evening. A lot of people anticipated that it would be Sunday or Monday. It happened now, leading into the weekend. This is probably the most important thing happening in the world throughout. I got some more comments. Good. Israel don't have it. They have us because of it was a one-on-one. They wouldn't do it. As far as like with the assistance of the U.S., yeah, they do rely on our assistance in a major way. In spite of the fact that, like I mentioned, the Trump has tried seemingly distanced himself to some capacity from Israel recently. I know if things are left as is, in most cases, that I would expect that the U.S. would ride with Israel. I don't know what's happening right now, though, honestly, because not that this caught me by extreme surprise, but I mean, if they Trump made it seem as if a deal was in place. If I remember correctly, this morning, um, and he did mention that a strike from Israel would complicate his deal with Iran. So I mean, could there be a possibility in which an escalation happens and the U.S. takes a step back and tells Israel, like, you know, similar to what we're doing with Ukraine in many instances. I mean, even though like Trump has trying to bring Russia to negotiate and end war with Ukraine, and we've aligned ourselves with Ukraine during the Trump administration as far as doing mineral deals with Ukraine. But would Trump do something similar as trying to reel in Netanyahu, seeing that he's about to enter into a deal with Iran? Nevertheless, I mean, like these countries don't like each other, regardless of whether Iran and the U.S. have a deal in place, and a response, I mean, is expected. Same thing. Let me see. Bruce Gas wrote, and please, if you guys could subscribe to Mr. Johnson Boxing Talk with more, in addition to my brother Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz and more. And Bruce Gas writes, same thing as Ukraine. We got information on an attack in coming soon. As far as like an attack coming into Ukraine, maybe. Ben is evil, writes Mr. Johnson. Bruce Gas wrote, not to get off track, but what do you think of the Alex Padilla incident? I thought it was kind of funny. Um, I think the liberal lunatic left has positioned themselves on the wrong side of current political debates, one of which is deportations and illegal migrations. Alex Padilla, I wouldn't envision him going to a prison in the Los Angeles area that was doing some sort of injustice to a black prisoner from the state of California, his state. But here he is trying to break up a press conference from Ms. Nome on behalf of the deportations that are taking place with people that aren't even Americans. So the liberal left and clowns like Alex Padilla, who don't have a singular thought amongst them. I mean, they all vote in the same direction. I mean, so when something bad happens to one of them, I mean, I get a chuckle because of I know that there's not many that would break away and think independently and any sort of thing that the left is advocating of recent is usually detrimental or just outright sucks. Alex Padilla's cause for getting arrested, having to do with his fight for the liberal positioning in terms of immigration, got him arrested. Thought it was whatever. Let me see. Mr. Johnson wrote, Trump always says folks are negotiating, and then we hear it's not. Yeah, I've seen a lot of positionings as far as where it seems as if the U.S. is getting a large percentage in terms of tariffs, and nation is getting a tariffing us far less. The biggest example of that was China, where supposedly the tariff was supposed 45%, and they were, oh wow, I just saw lighting up in Israel. I don't know what that is, like thunder or something. But it seems not. It seems it like with China, the biggest nation that we had a tariff battle with as of last night. We actually have come out ahead from that tariff war with China. We're tariffing them 50% on the goods they sell us, and they're tariffing us 10%. Because at the end of the day, China doesn't have an economy outside of the U.S. They have a semblance of an economy, but it would be like China operating without a heart. The heart, I mean, the American dollar is the heart of China. It's basically what sustains it. And if they don't get American dollars, whether that's highly tariff dollars or no tariffs on the dollars they were receiving, like under recent circumstances, China needs the U.S. far more than America needs China. And Trump has been trying to negotiate countries. It kind of puts us in a situation where we're going to get income flow, but it puts us in a situation where the reality is that without the American market, most of these countries' products would be shelved. They sell for most and they sell the most in America, basically. Um, oh, I'm sorry. Number two, this is all about Iran and their nuclear plant. Yeah, it could be. I mean, like that. The main negotiation had to do with the enrichment of uranium and Iran's capability. Um, the U.S. general in front of U.S. general in front of Congress said Iran has no nuclear capabilities. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. It could have happened. I didn't see it, but that might be the case. Maybe they. I mean, these are very tenuous negotiations as far as what the capabilities are with their enriching, and Trump probably wants the best as far as restricting them in their capabilities of enriching uranium, and probably what keeps America safest, or probably just the best deal. Who knows? Iran gets nuclear inspections. Oh, that these are tenants of like the deal. Yeah, that's reasonable. Or that's a reasonable ask if that's what they were asking for. Once again, I see it totally opposite of you. That's my brother Bruce Cast. Nah, that's all right. I mean, like we could have agree to disagree. Like these political discussions. I mean, like depending on what side you're advocating for, it's really easy to demonize the person you're talking to. But at the end of the day, I mean, like we're just regular people. People should talk more than not talk, or find reasons to like see people's perspective rather than find the reason as to why somebody's political perspective may cause anonymity between, which is ridiculous nowadays. Love for everybody. China does have a market outside of America. Yeah, they do have. I mean, but they don't. I mean, America is the market. Without America's industry, I mean, if there's videos all over the place regarding the conditions in China right now. And China's market spill like as far as the East Coast operation of China's market, it flows into my actual neighborhood, Sunset Park, Brooklyn. A lot of it. The second biggest Chinese community in the whole America. And as far as stuff coming in, they've been trying to dump stuff coming in. I mean, and I know they're trying to dump stuff coming in because they don't really see uh, stable income flow in the next couple of months. By the way, too, I think the tariff negotiation that Trump just worked out with is only up till August, which is interesting. So it's I think that that could be a productive framework in how to negotiate into the future. Basically, negotiating for a month or two and then renewing deals as you go. Especially with a nation like China, a lot of our fentanyl comes in by way of China coming up with the materials. In addition to, I mean, like China doesn't deal with us in a fair fashion in many instances. China has a big time piracy problem with not only our products but products throughout the West. And China wants to be the big dog. And I live in a nation that is not China, and I rather the U.S. be the big dog. Um, but with China as well too. I mean, like they're reeling for an opportunity to jump into try to what they feel is retake Taiwan for China mainland. And an instance like we're seeing this evening, an escalation in the Southwest Asia, the Middle Eastern theater. Could China see this as an opportunity for them to make a militaristic leap and to try to overtake Taiwan? Who knows? I mean, like, maybe they're pissed off at the having a 55% tariff and say, what the hell? Let's make our move now. To hell with the tariffs. To hell with our stopping ourselves from overtaking Taiwan. Let's just go for it. Things are at their worst right now. And I mean, not to, I'm bringing in the economy into this as far as like for a bigger picture that I'm trying to illustrate, but I've been predicting that the economy is going to fall apart for quite some time now. I think if the economy is running, it's going off a fume. So, I mean, should that shooter drop next week where the economy completely collapses, a recession or a depression, whatever cute term which indicates that the world in a financial downturn, I could see a lot of countries maybe incentivizing the fact that their economies could be boosted by converting themselves into military economies, even temporarily. Maybe like to try to retake pieces of countries that were once theirs. I can see Poland trying to claim leave, like if the Russia war escalates, for instance. Leave was part of Poland at one point. So these things are very concerning. I mean, like, there are a lot of nations that are probably not happy with Trump's positioning of trying to keep American things in America and not really honing in on trying to spread democracy throughout the world. Maybe people see opportunity in that. Who knows? I mean, I can't call it either way. Let me see. uh, I'm telling you, they have a huge market outside of America. Cars, steel, textiles, plastic products, building materials, i.e. Yeah, everything you mentioned as far as what they have to sell, like cars, America could make it better. Steel, America makes it better. Textiles, debatable. Plastic products, I'm not sure. Building material, America will smoke the whole of Asia combined, probably. We have the best building material in America. I'm not getting my info from news or social media. No, I mean, I've been listening to. I got a free trial for cable this week, and I've actually been listening to a lot of CNN. I love liberal news networks, believe it or not. Like I look at news like the way um, people in Puerto Rico look at the news. Like in Puerto Rico, everybody expects the news to be lying. And watching liberal news, it kind of is very relaxing, especially recently, because I go with the perspective of these people are definitely lying. You know, everything's a big sell job, like so it makes it easier. But yeah, I listen to more people on YouTube as far as like trying to dig out like for real information, and on Twitter, than I listen to the mainstream media. To be frank, a lot of international publications are on point too. Believe it or not, there's actually a decent Israeli paper. I mean, and they're not pro-Israel like that either. Um, the boxing scholar, what's good, my brother? How you doing? What we on, bro? Let them fight for themselves. Yeah, I'm talking about the strike that just happened. If you haven't heard, thank you for coming through, boxing scholar as well. If you haven't heard, Iran has just been struck by Israel, so it's definitely going to be an escalation. And I'm holding with bating breath. I don't want neither one. I'm not rooting for any of these people. All these people are nuts. Nobody belongs in any of these nations. Like as far as they don't belong to any of these people's ancestors, and they're on the verge of getting people here in America, the real motherland for my people at least, wrapped up in some world war that I could give two squirts about. Honestly, this kind of brings that conversation too. I mean, like that Americans should be having as far as like how much should we give a shit about foreigners? To be frank, you smell me? Let me see. No, I watch C-SPAN, bro. The House, Senate, and committees. I watch some of that stuff too. I've been watching more and more of it, especially lately. But some of that shit is crazy boring. Because if it's like a Republican witness and there's Republicans grilling him, they're not gonna tell him anything or have him say anything of any importance, and vice versa. Like, I mean, if it's a Democratic witness and then it's Democrats grilling him. And the thing is, to that of late, like today, I was watching a congressional hearing with the governors of Illinois, New York, Katie Hochul, my old governor, and Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. And they were asking simple questions like, "What is a woman?" And they were filibustering on shit like that. You know, filibustering on positions they have taken as far as like um, defunding like police, like that they made in the past. Positions that they taken more so on immigration than anything, because that's the hot topic right now. So like, I'm watching it, and when they try to when they squirm their way out of trying to answer something, it gets boring because it's 5 minutes of not trying to answer. So I find a lot of those things a little bit boring, like lately, especially. Unless I'm doing shit around the house, I could watch stuff like that all day. But I could listen to it in the background. But after a while, I gotta change no matter what, because it's half boring, half somewhat decent, and even the decent stuff you gotta like kind of like rifle through what being said that's really important. You watched the one with the Secretary of Defense? Yeah, it was actually yesterday and today. That was actually an interesting one, but I had shit going on, so and again, a lot of the stuff. I mean, but Pete Hegseth was kind of is kind of vinegar, and his responses are really like he's with the shits basically. Um, like a lot of it is like basically trying to trap him up. As far as like nominations that Trump has put forward, as the ones that the powers that be, the swamp hate the most, have been Pete Hegseth, Robert Kennedy Jr., and Tulsi Gabbard. Those three are like the ones that they gave the most contention as far as these are the people we don't want Trump to nominate, and thankfully all three of them made the cut and they're in now. But I sort of remember Pete Hegseth, the one that used to get the most rancor, and it kind of like it still remains true. It seems as if most of the times with these leaks that happen are usually happening around trying to frame Pete Hegseth more than anybody in the Trump administration. So even though, like, I know to me, just because of that, I find that I want to hear more of what he has to say. But unfortunately, I had a lot of shit happening, and I wasn't able to listen to either day with the Pete Hegseth questioning. But it seemed boring, honestly. Both days I was watching. Let me see. You say those three are the goods. I really like Robert Kennedy Jr. I like the action that he put into play yesterday. He fired, I believe, 17 um, chair people or board members of whatever thing he's in charge of. I think he's in charge of CDC or. But I do like Robert Kennedy Jr. a lot, and as far as taking these chemicals out of food and opening up the debate in terms of vaccines. And I rather people talk about those things out in the open rather than the positioning that the Biden administration was taking of basically, you have to accept whatever they're suggesting because an expert put it out there into the open. This administration, as far as in terms of what Robert Kennedy Jr. is suggesting, seems more um, consort with do your own due diligence, and I like that. As far as Pete Hegseth, I mean, he's more of an unknown commodity, but he's young. He was a soldier in the past. I mean, even though major is not a high rank, but I think it would probably serve the military well to not have somebody like in the general or admiral class running the military as far as deciding what's best like for the soldiers day to day. And he actually talked about stuff that soldiers do care about, like moving, like soldiers when they have to move from place to place, like the making soldiers' lives easier. I think is something that he cares about, and I think that's something that's understated with politicians of his position. Let me see. Oh, and yeah, Tulsi Gabbard. She's more of an unknown too for me. I think it was a good selection in terms of that Trump going across the aisle and picking her, one-time Democrat. And she's also of a military background, not high-ranking too, which I do appreciate. But it's still more wait and see. I'm more sold on the Robert Kennedy pick than anybody else. And even with him, I mean, I'm not putting my total devotion and faith into any of these people, including Trump. But they're way better than somebody, say, from offices of Pfizer being the head of the CDC, um, globalist, or some guy that used to work for General Dynamics, being in charge of or being named Secretary of Defense. The let's see, LMO. Okay, bro, shaking my head. Yeah, the no, but I do like. I'm not 100% sold on everything happening in the Trump administration, but I do like much of what's happening in the Trump administration. This country and the world in general, in large part, is going to need a lot of fixing, and Trump seems to be more on point than anybody the Democrats could have offered. So, I mean, I make no qualms of the fact that I was preferring Trump to win without question. But with that, I'm going to shut this stream down for the evening. There's actually a statement coming from the IDF spokesperson, Brigadier General Effie Defrin, on preemptive Israeli strike. on Iranian nuclear targets. That looks like AI. Wow, look at it. Like, I'm gonna put it on.
Iran is closer than ever to obtaining a nuclear weapon. This morning, the IDF began preemptive and precise strikes targeting the Iranian nuclear program in order to prevent the regime's ability to build a nuclear bomb in the immediate time frame. We have no choice. We are operating against an imminent and existential threat. We cannot allow the Iranian regime to obtain a nuclear weapon that would be a danger to Israel and the entire world. This operation is for our right to exist here, for our future, and for our children's future. The State of Israel has the right and the obligation to operate in order to protect its people and will continue to do so. The IDF conducted significant preparations for this operation. We are well prepared both in defense and offense to defend ourselves. The IDF will continue to defend the State of Israel.
That was an IDF statement.
Yeah, so that was Brigadier General of the IDF. Before you go, there's some more kitten action. With that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening. I'm gonna relax. I'm done for the night. I'll try to get back with you guys in the morning. Do help me by like, sharing, subscribing. Helping me fight the YouTube algorithm. They are not helping me one iota, but you could help me by being a real person, not being a bot, and commenting like my brother Michael Johnson, like my brother Boxing Scholar, Bruce Cast, some of my loyal subscribers that showed up this evening. I do want to thank you fellas for showing up. But anybody that listens to this after the fact or right now, do help me fight that algorithm. And together we'll navigate. With that,